this show is sort of a departure from my usual work. About 3 years ago I decided I wanted to do abstracts. It needs to be abstracts not of nature, but abstracts of human-made objects. And so I spent the last 3 to 5 years doing most of these. And these are all from Eau Claire, local scenes, but they've been abstracted, or I've taken parts of bigger scenes and made them smaller, or somehow manipulated them in my dark room, and in such a way that takes away the familiar references. And it's really about light and shadow and the juxtaposition of those two things. And so that's pretty much what this show is about. Okay, this is Crossbeams, and this is the happy accident. I was taking this photo down by an overpass on 53, and I wanted to get the light beam that was coming down between the two bridges. And it was one of those days, early spring. It was cold, and the sun kept popping in and out from the clouds. And so I took one exposure, and then I went back and was trying to warm up in my car. And what happened, it was about 20 minutes before the sun came back out again, and the beams appeared, and I rushed out of my truck and forgot to turn the film around. And so I actually double exposed this. And it was one of those things where when I got in my dark room and I developed the film, I pulled out the one and it was blank. And I couldn't figure out why is it blank. Then I looked at the next one and it was a double exposure. And my first thought was, well, that didn't work out too well. But then I started looking at it and I said, well, I kind of like this better. So one of the things in photography, we actually can take credit for the happy accident. So I'll take credit for it. Okay, this one here is a substation. It's probably not as abstract as some, but I saw this. This is the substation over by Banbury, and I had to go around the back side of the substation to actually find this. And when I got there, what I realized was that there was no place to really set up my camera, because it just went straight down to the river, the Eau Claire River. So to get this picture, I actually had to bungee my tripod to the chain link fence, put my camera right up against it, and then essentially bungeed myself so I would go down into the river as well. So it was one of those things I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, since I was shooting from a chain link fence, and also fairly precarious, but it worked out pretty well, I thought. So anyway. Okay. All right, so this is how I work and the equipment that I use. This is a 4x5 camera. It's a view camera. It looks like an old camera, but it's not really that old. It's only about 15 years old. And everything that I get to see is through here, which is called a ground glass. And when I go to take a picture, the film is in here, and I pull these out, pull this out, and I expose it. So basically the film goes back here like this, and essentially I set up my shot the way I want to before I put the film in, and it's all on this ground glass here. But the only way I can see that, especially in this light, is this is the modern version of the black cloth. Just put over there. Maybe. So what I'm doing here is trying to get a picture of the building. What I'm doing over here is actually focusing get a look at this. Maybe that doesn't work out, so it works out. There you go. So that's what I'm looking at. Everything's upside down and backwards, but you finally eventually learn how to think upside down and backwards. And so when I have this the way I want it, I probably level that up a little. And basically the focusing is done with this, with a loop. And I look at it to make sure that everything's in focus the way I want it. And when it's all done, I got it the way I want it, then I go back and put the film in. Film it going. Close down the shutter. Then I would pull this out, slide this out like that, and I just take a picture at the cocked lens each time. And it's just a simple matter of doing that. Put the slide back in, I'm done. Then I can turn it around. Put it in there and do it all over again.